I was going to wait till I got home, but I can't. So if you're just... In fact, I wait for some people to log on, so I'm not talking to myself, yeah? I'm about to rant. I'm about to rant like hell. If you're... I was going to wait till I got home before I'd done this. I've just found out that the young men who... I was at the service station yesterday, the motorway services, and by chance, I happened to walk in, and there were 4 coaches full of young men in the army. If you're watching this, give it a share, because there has to be... The public have to show their support on an issue like this, so that these young lads don't get left hung out to dry. Now, I was at the motorway services. I saw a load of young men who were in the army. I had my photo taken with them. The photo was shared online. I've just found out that those young men are being investigated. They've all had their phones taken off them by the army. They've seized all of their phones. None of them can now contact their families. Their families don't know what's going on. They just know that they've had their phones seized. Phones seized by the army for what? For having your photo taken with someone. For having your photo taken with someone. Now, a Muslim organisation, the Muslim Council of Britain, have made the big song and dance about this. The army have given a statement in response to the Muslim Council of Britain. The second in command of the Muslim Council of Britain signed a declaration saying that our armed forces are legitimate targets for suicide bombings. That's who currently our army leaders are pandering to. The Muslim Council of Britain. Yes, we have a Muslim Council of Britain. No joke. Okay? Now, were the Muslim Council of Britain this vocal when 4 times as many British Muslims went to fight for ISIS than joined our armed services? These young men who have been neglected, they are predominantly white working class, they've been forgotten and neglected, undereducated and failed in our country, and they've joined the military. Many of them because there's no other choice. They've joined the military, and you want them to sacrifice their lives. You want them to go away to faraway fields, fight and die to install freedom in other countries, whilst you take their freedom away from them at motorway services off the M1. They've had a photo taken. I have never ever, they're saying far right figures, I've never been charged with or arrested for any racial or religious extremism ever in my life. They are all false tags put on me by media and government. I've never... So how can you try and discipline, not just discipline, but take their phones and investigate them, investigate these young men for having a photo taken, for expressing their own freedom? They have a freedom to choose who they want. Is there a list of people now that our armed services have a list of who you can and can't have your photo taken with? Is that what's happening now in Britain? What an absolute joke. It's bad enough that we have the military personnel recruitment videos show Muslim soldiers taking their boots off and getting down and praying in the middle of a battlefield, while our soldiers say, hold on a minute, lads, what, someone's praying. Are you for real? Are you for real? Yeah? And you've gone that politically correct. There was a photograph shared the other day by the British military saying, we're having a weekend personnel away day for all the imams in Britain. All the imams who believe that homosexuals should be punished for should be punished with death. The imams who believe women are second-class citizens. All of these imams. And if someone had a photo taken with Jeremy Corbyn, would there be this investigation? Jeremy Corbyn, who has said Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation. If you're watching this, share it. And if you support our armed forces, and those young men who saw someone who, for whatever reason, even if they don't agree with me politically, they think we recognise him, we'll have our photo taken with him, they now face disciplinary. If you think that's wrong, then please, I've shared a link to the website. I've shared a link to the website on this video, at the start of the video. Go on and sign the petition. I'll personally hand this petition into the army. People need to know. The army needs to know. And this needs to happen fast and quick and get numbers quick. Because the army need to be sitting there realising, oh shit, the British public are not happy about this. If you think you're going to leave those young lads, if you think you're going to leave them out to dry, and just be able to discipline them and sack them, or whatever it is you think you're going to do for your politically correct bullshit, which is exactly what it is. Political correctness gone insane in our army. Our army. You want to prosecute, you want to bring discipline against young men for having a photo taken with someone. Unbelievable. They're expressing their own freedoms, their own rights. It's their right to have their photo taken with whoever they want. You can't expect them to sign up and sacrifice their life and go and get blown up when you won't even give them any freedom in their own country. That's what a laughing stock. People around the world must look at our country and think, what is going on? You're actually disciplining and investigating. And then we've got all these comments about ideologies within the army. It's unbelievable. But if you're watching this and you don't like it, sign the petition. I'll personally hand it in. And if you are in the army, or people, the politicians within the army, the people at the top, if you're sitting there thinking that you're going to sacrifice these young men, then I will cause the biggest shitstorm and demonstrations ever over, because no one, even if you don't like me, yeah, those men have their own rights and freedoms. And if they want to have a photo taken next to someone, they can. You know, if you had a Muslim in the British Army, and he had a photo taken with the Muslim Council of Britain, you know, the organisation that the British Army talk to, yeah, that organisation whose leaders have said that British personnel are legitimate targets for suicide bombings, would they be under investigation? Would you have seized their phones? I've just been speaking to some of those young lads' families. They've seized their phones. They've took all their phones to investigate them for having a photo taken at a service station. What a joke. A photo taken with someone who's never ever been criminally charged or arrested for anything to do with extremism. They say far right. Far right. They're saying in their headline about far right.
It's a great picture.
I know. I'm just... It's infuriating. And you know what? You have to just send a message to say... You have to send a message. The only message can be that they need to realise before they do this, before they go through with whatever little bullshit investigation they're doing, they need to realise the amount of public feeling about it. The website, www.standwithourlads.com. That's the website. Share it everywhere you can, right? Share it everywhere you can. Sign it. Let them see, just like the government would have seen, 600,000 people signed a petition to release Tommy Robinson. This isn't good, yeah? They need to realise the public feeling. If you think you're going to be able to just hang these boys out, I just can't believe it. I was going to do this when I got home, but I can't. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Those young men, and I said to them, I wouldn't want to get you in trouble by sharing the photo. And I'm going to say, what for? What for? I'll tell you what for, because it's 2018 and political correctness is so embedded in every area of our country, even the army. Even the army. But it takes 1 minute. It will take you 1 minute. You see, if everyone shared this and shared it everywhere, 1 minute, sign that petition, and I'll personally hand it in to the army. And not just, and follow this, because you can see all these organisations, you can see them all commenting now. They're all silent about how many Muslims are joining, how many Muslims joined ISIS. You know what I mean? Just combusted with rage. I'm sorry, I'm combusted with rage. I am combusted with rage. I'm furious thinking about those young lads. You sign them up. You sign them up and you send them off. You sign them off and you go and send them off. And you think you can persecute them now. Persecute them like they've done something criminally wrong. A photograph with an individual. And you're investigating them, taking their phones, seizing their phones. But keep monitoring this, and as I said, follow the website, because I'll put the updates on that website. The updates continue going on that website. Just, it's absolutely unbelievable. Man. And if if you look at the most recent army recruitment videos, look at all the army recruitment videos, yeah? It's all about, it's okay to cry in the army, yeah? It's okay if you want to cry. It's okay, and then it's got someone else saying, it's got another, the recruitment video, it's got another man saying, yes, it was okay for me to have my boyfriend in the army, I didn't realise it. Why are you making a deal of all these issues? There's always been gay men in the army. There's always been gay men in the army. Why right now, it's just all been shoved in everyone's faces, all of these issues. All of these issues, which don't need to be. They don't need to be. And now with the whole, the recruitment drive to fill our army, man. But anyway, one other thing. Whilst I'm on a live stream and when there's 10,000 people watching, I want to say that when I come out of custody, it's embarrassing enough, when I come out of custody I wasn't in a great place. I then took time now to prepare myself for probably going back to prison in 2 weeks. That's why he needs to sign a petition so I can hand it in before I go back. But and I want to say a thank you to all the people who have signed up on my website that give me the ability and the time to take a back seat, have some time with my family, but also to plan for what I want to do after my court case. I'm sort of like in limbo land at the minute, where I'm just waiting to go back to prison for nonsense, for free speech again, for telling facts that are already in the public domain. They want to send me back to prison for it. Do you know what I also found out, while I'm on that subject? Levi Bellingfield, do you remember the murderer who was a bouncer? He was a bouncer, he was a murderer, he murdered a young girl. When he was on his court trial, the Daily Mirror, one of the newspapers which has been hammering me for my contempt of court charge, well, the Daily Mirror breached restriction and prejudiced the trial. They prejudiced the trial so much that the jury had to be disbanded and the case collapsed. Yeah? And then they had to start a whole new trial. £10,000 fine they got. They got a £10,000 fine. Never in 70 years has any journalist ever been sent to prison or prosecuted in any way. But yet I'm back on trial in 2 weeks, and this is all plays in to the reason why these young men are being targeted by their bosses within the army for having a photo. Political correctness in an attempt to shut everyone up and silence everyone and anyone who dares show any opposition to Islam in Britain. That's it. That's what's happened. So that's.
I recognise that voice.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a rant. I'm having a mid-rant. I was sitting. Yeah, not bad, mate. Standing in Bexley High Street, having my rant about how unbelievable it is, the current situation of our country. And do you know what I sense? And this is so that people feel they're not alone, because I know I'm not alone, because everywhere I go, I get an amazing reception. The same reception I got of those young armed forces, I get everywhere I go. So I am fully aware that the British public are feeling these feelings. They're feeling oppressed, they're feeling silenced, they're feeling shut down. No one can speak, no one can do anything without being attacked and slandered and imprisoned or sacked, losing your job. We had a young girl this week, 17 years old, kicked out of her college class for saying that she admired Tommy Robinson. So what? So what if she did? What happened to freedoms in an education system that is absolutely... It was all right for everyone else to support Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn, who attends terrorist funerals, who says Hamas, who are a prescribed terrorist organisation, are his friends. That's all fine, because it fits the far left agenda. Fits the far left anti-Semitic, communist and Marxist agenda. But as soon as you express opposition to any of these things, opposition to gangs of Muslim men raping young girls, opposition to terrorists walking our streets, opposition to any of this. I've gone on a rant and I've gone off on one. But yeah, that's it. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's been doing that, and please sign that petition and make sure that even if you don't everyone has to make sure that these boys ain't left out on their own on this, that the British Army are fully aware of the public feeling about this, that our soldiers are allowed, if they want to take a photo with whoever the hell they want to take a photo with. None of them made political statements at all. None of them. Share it, and I'll stop ranting now. I've got to get home. I'm miles away. See you later. And if anyone's watching this if there's any other family members from those young lads, or any of the lads that I'll keep completely confidential, and I won't say a word, that it's you that's contacted me, keep me up to date with what the army are doing on this, because we simply as a nation, we cannot allow young men to be treated like this by our military. You can't, just because they've got you put them in uniform, you send them off to fight, and then you want to take everyone their own freedoms away. It can't be allowed.